Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I am back with Game 3 of the Brooklyn PC Finals. Of course, I am joined by guest Jon Hu.
Yep, see ya.
And we've been commentating games 1 and 2, so if you have not seen the first two, definitely check them out. They were both pretty intense games, and I think in the end of Game 2, both Jon and I kind of talked a little bit about our mindset going into Game 3. But just to reiterate, Jon's team was...
Hello, Lapras, Rayquaza, Klefki, which one did I mention? Mienshao and Togekiss, yeah?
Yep.
That's the one.
And so in both games 1 and 2, he went with the same 4 Pokemon, Rayquaza, Togekiss, with Lapras and Ho in the back. For me, I changed things up a little bit. In games 1, I led with Landorus and Groudon. In game 2, I decided not to bring Landorus, opting for Kangaskhan and Cresselia with Palkia and Groudon in the back. So going into game 3, I was just really scared in general of the Landorus or the Rayquaza Togekiss lead on his end, and I was like, okay, if he leads with anything else, then Kangaskhan Landorus can pretty much deal with it effectively. Even if he leads with that, then I can pull some stuff off. You know, I'll have Fake Out Pressure at least. I can switch into Groudon to eliminate Rayquaza's Delta Stream, and we'll go from there.
And then from my end, I'm expecting Cresselia Kangaskhan again, so I actually decided to lead something very punishing to that lead specifically, but as it turns out, this is not going to happen.
So, we're going to get into the final match, and so there wasn't very much on the line for this tournament. I think it was just 3 championship points, but, you know, being early meta, you know, it's just nice to play a bunch of games and test out things.
Definitely.
So, you know, both of us were just looking forward to having a good time, and so far the finals have been pretty exciting. So, like I mentioned, I lead Kangaskhan and Landorus, and Jon actually leads with something I was not expecting to see at all.
Yeah, so this is my punishment if you led Cresselia Kangaskhan, because I would just be able to fake out your Kangaskhan and get up like a sub or something.
Right.
But you led Landorus, and that's an immediate problem for me because both of these Pokemon are physical attackers, and now I just really can't do anything, especially because I cannot knock out your Kangaskhan anymore. So I decide to opt for the trade fake out play where I fake out Landorus, and if you fake out Ho, nothing really happens. And that's the play I end up going with here.
Yeah, so I actually decided I'm not going to trade fake outs with him because my thought process is Mienshao here can't knock me out with the fighting type attack due to the Intimidate, so you can fake Kangaskhan out and allow me to get a Rock Slide off, or you can fake out Landorus, and I'm just going to double edge him for a knockout, because once that goes down, then Landorus can just kind of spam Rock Slide, especially without Mega Rayquaza on the field. So he does go for the fake out onto my Landorus, and I do successfully get double edge off, so I eliminate Mienshao, which, you know, threatens the Kangaskhan. I know that double edge wouldn't knock out Ho, since it's relatively bulky, and in game 1, like, I needed the fake out chip damage to knock it out there, so I was really happy with how that played out, but I figured he's going to go for a Sacred Fire here.
And that's exactly what I do, because when you're staring down 2 physical attackers, what else do you do but try to burn them with Sacred Fire?
Yep.
And I do indeed get the burn on a Kangaskhan, and here I have to replace my Mienshao, and I'm in the box, and I see that I didn't bring Rayquaza, so that's interesting because I probably should have, and it would have been a great switch in right here because the Kangaskhan is burned, and even though it's outspeeding me, it's not going to be able to knock me out. Plus, the Landorus is chipped, so Draco might actually pick up the KO.
Right.
Unsure about that one, but since I don't have Rayquaza, I just bring in my Togekiss.
And once I see
that's
that,
the best thing.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, like, Rock Slide's a pretty good move to use right now. So this next turn, I'm like, I mean, I'm guessing he didn't bring Rayquaza, so all I need to do is pick up a knockout here on really either, and then Groudon can kind of just come in and seal things up. Even Palkia in the back would help things, but yeah, I mean, obviously the burn was unfortunate on Kangaskhan, but I'm still feeling okay, right? Because this played out maybe 10 times better than I expected it to originally. So at this point, I know Landorus' Rock Slide is just going to help me out, and Kangaskhan can double edge. There's some mind games on who I can target, you know, whether I target Ho or whether I target
Togekiss.
Yeah. But I know Togekiss's moveset, so I know you don't have Tailwind.
Right. And so here he double edges into Ho, which is a great move because the Ho I'm actually EV'd, I think, to live Groudon's Rock Slide, which means the Landorus Rock Slide would definitely not knock out from full health, but still puts me at the whimsy of flinch. But he actually misses, which is the crucial turning point in this battle, because that allows me to get off another Sacred Fire, he gets another burn. Now the Landorus is kind of not really doing anything. It's not threatening me at all. Yeah. And Togekiss flinches again.
Yeah,
and,
so I mean,
this fair share of flinches this tournament. So.
Yeah, this turn was by far the most frustrating turn because I knew if I connected there, since he didn't protect or follow me, Ho would have just been eliminated, and Groudon, you know, most likely would have been able to seal the deal.
Sweet.
Yeah, and even if Landorus weren't burned here, you know, I feel a little bit better since I know that Air Slash wouldn't knock me out, and Landorus is still faster, but me getting burned has to make me rethink my entire strategy completely. And at this point, I'm definitely playing a little bit on tilt, which is something you obviously shouldn't do. But I was like, wow, like everything went wrong the first 2 turns. How can I come back from this? So I figure, okay, at least I can conserve my Kangaskhan for fake out pressure and at least, try to go for flinches with Landorus or just to get some extra damage off with Rock Slide. But at this point, definitely a little bit frustrated.
Yeah, so here I actually pulled the switch to take advantage of the fact that he's burned. I need to conserve my Ho because I'm expecting Palkia to be in the back again, and Ho will also wall the Groudon. Lapras can't really do that, so I decided to switch in Lapras on a burned Rock Slide. It's doing a little bit of damage. The other main reason I brought in Lapras is because I have Ice Shard, so the next turn I can just pick off Landorus. I think I actually figured out game 1 that I was faster than the Groudon with Togekiss, and so now I can just flinch and get some, well, air flinch, I guess. Air flinch a bit here, hopefully get some rolls and pull it back so that I have the advantage in Pokemon. Because I'm still at a disadvantage here.
Definitely. And so, yeah, I really didn't consider the Ice Shard too much. Like, I think sacrificing Kangaskhan there might have been a decent idea. And the flinch there really catches me off guard a little bit. I mean, it's 60%, so obviously the odds are actually in Jon's favor, but not something you really want to see here. And at this point, I'm like, wow, for a game that looked perfect after turn 1, bar the burn on Kangaskhan, things are actually looking really poor for me right now because Kangaskhan's going to go down after another turn. I do get a turn of Fake Out here, so I figure I can Fake Out an Eruption, but the main issue, once again, is that once Kangaskhan goes down, Groudon is my only way to actually effectively deal with Togekiss because Palkia can't touch it with Spatial Rand and Earth Power. And the other tricky thing is I don't have Trick Room up right now, so he'll be able to outspeed me and he can flinch me or Thunder Wave me. So at this point, I'm really scared in general. I figure, okay, this turn my play is to just Fake Out an Eruption to get damage off, hope for a knockout, and at least this turn I can mitigate any potential flinches from Togekiss. But I'm not sure how much Eruption is really going to do here.
So the Fake Out also puts me outside of Citrus range again. It does that again.
Yeah.
And then, I actually Ice Shard his Kangaskhan because I'm thinking about whether he wants to Fake Out or use Double Edge. And if he wants to use Double Edge, then I can Ice Shard and pick him off before he gets it off. So that's why I Ice Sharded him. Then I just Air Slash Groudon with Togekiss. And luckily Togekiss hangs on from Eruption. The chip damage is very important there.
Yeah.
Not sure if that was a roll or not. Maybe it was. But Togekiss is still around here, and that's good. Lapras is still around 50%, and that's pretty good against 2 special attackers here. Especially one who is 4x weak to Freeze Dry.
Yeah.
And the other one can't really do much outside of Flamethrower or another Eruption.
Yeah, so looking back at that turn, I actually kind of forgot in retrospect how the Togekiss survived, because if Togekiss went down, then Groudon and Palkia would both be faster than the Lapras, which is kind of a big deal here, because by being able to outspeed, I could actually probably just Flamethrower and Spatial Rand you, but now I still have to deal with the Air Slash flinch chances.
Okay, so Aaron's going to double up onto my Lapras, I think, because that's honestly the only play you should be doing, because Lapras is going to take the hits really easily. He doesn't flinch, which is, again, annoying, and knocks out Togekiss, but because I chipped him even more, Lapras takes the hit pretty well and is able to get off a really, really big Freeze Dry onto his Palkia, which, if I didn't do that, Hoa would have to chip him down with Brave Bird or Sacred Fire. Sacred Fire is being 4x resisted, and it's not a really good choice. The Brave Bird is hurting me, and then I have to spend turns not attacking to get my health back.
Right, so the clutch survival, as you can see how Jon EV'd both of his Pokemon to really take these special type attacks. It was really frustrating for me. The Assault Vest really coming through on Lapras right now is when I realized, wow, for a game that I had complete control of relatively for the first 2 turns. I mean, missing the Rock Slide onto Ho-Oh, getting my Pokemon burned, and then the Air Slash flinch was frustrating, but Jon managed the odds really well, and he made the right plays in order to get back to it. So at this point, I'm trying to figure out what I can even do to maybe win the match, and I figure, if I can catch him off guard, if he attacks into a Protect, or if he expects one of my Pokemon to protect and targets the other one, and I protect with that one, maybe I can pull something off. The main issue here right now, though, is that Lapras is still the fastest Pokemon once Trick Room goes up, so if I set up Trick Room, Lapras can just outspeed me and knock it out. So what I'm thinking is, okay, if I can knock out Lapras and somehow set up Trick Room, then maybe I can pull something off, but Palkia is also the answer against Ho-Oh right now, because Groudon's Eruptions or Flamethrowers don't do very much, so that's something else I'm keeping in mind. But at this point, it's basically hoping that Jon maybe messes up a little bit.
And so here, it's actually pretty safe for me. I just need to get rid of Palkia because I've identified that the Groudon can't really hurt Ho-Oh.
Right.
So I'm just going to target it down with Brave Bird, and since he's at such low health, I'm not taking very much recoil back. If he knocks out Lapras, that's okay, because she did her job. And really, I'm just using Ice Shard with Lapras now as a last means of damaging something a little bit.
And yeah, so, I mean, at this point, I've having, admitted defeat yet, but I'm like, okay.
It's not looking good.
Yeah. Like, the survivals on both Togekiss and Lapras. I also could have flamethrowered your Lapras instead of going for the Eruption, but I was really hoping to pick up the double knockout there. And so, as John mentioned, he is going to go for the Ice Shard there onto my Groudon. And the Brave Bird comes out. I'm not sure who he's targeting yet, but he's smart enough to target down Palkia. I was like, okay, obviously protect with Palkia there is the play to make, but if he, maybe messes up a little bit and decides...
Predicts that.
Yeah, exactly.
And then a Brave Bird into the Groudon, he can get up a Trick Room.
Right.
And then it will be slightly bad for me, because then he can just double up. I'd have to constantly keep recovering Roosting, which I was carrying. I didn't choose to use it, I think, because I just didn't want to stall it out any more than it could have.
Right.
Now here I actually make something really... I do something really dumb, mostly because I'm like, I think I'm going to win, but I'm going to make sure I win, because if he's carrying the Rogue Rock move that he hasn't revealed, because you haven't used Earth Power
Earth
the whole
Power,
set.
that's right.
But I'm thinking he would have used it already, so why did I do that? But it's just a testament to Ho's bulk that this is like a sun-boosted flamethrower from a Groudon, and it doesn't do anything. Like,
yeah.
My stuff is still here. And so the game is pretty much over at this point. I'm just going to Brave Bird a few times, and but here's the other issue with Ho. While it does wall Groudon, Ho is not really doing much back. This is a pretty offensive Ho, and it did maybe a 3-hit KO range of damage. So you have to be, if you're going to run Ho, you got to be a little wary of that. And then the sub was actually pretty important, because if he had crit twice, maybe he would have done enough damage to knock me out. So that was actually kind of important.
Right, and I was so I was like, oh, he went for the sub. Flamethrower is definitely going to do at least 25% of damage, and I was like, wow, it didn't even knock out the sub. And at that point, I was like, okay, yeah, so the game's definitely over here. But it was a really, close game in the end there. Obviously, there was a lot of RNG in that one. But John played it, I think, quite excellently, given how bad the matchup was for you.
Yeah, I was basically, at that point, I was like, oh, I was kicking myself for not bringing Rayquaza. And then his Rock Slide miss, and then I was like, oh, this changes everything, as long as I get the burn, which I did. And then I was like, okay, so now I'm just going to take advantage of the fact that the RNG has blessed me with this Rock Slide miss. I will use it to the best of my abilities to take this set.
Right.
And that's what I did.
Yeah, I think after speaking to John, I was like, wow, I'm surprised you didn't bring Rayquaza. And I was like, because I was definitely not expecting to face that lead matchup, but I was like, this is perfect for me. But, that's what you have to do when the odds aren't in your favor, when the lead matchup isn't good. You have to play well, and you might have to get a little bit lucky sometimes. But John was able to do exactly that, and it panned out for him. And, it's definitely a little bit... It's not fun to go out like that, but at the same time, like, we both knew this was a premier challenge. Like, there were 3 championship points on the line. Like, John actually so we both ended up getting plushes from the TO, and my brother won a Xerneas one, so John, chose a Xerneas one and gave me Kyogre. So I ended up getting the plush I wanted anyway, so it's just a matter of 3 CP. But yeah, I think it was just a fun set in general. I think anytime you have a best of 3 that goes down to game 3 and that starts off one way and goes the other way. It's always
really
fun.
nice to watch.
Right. And I think obviously if this were U.S. Nationals or regionals, finals, or worlds, then it's like it's a little bit you feel a little bit saltier maybe,
you feel bad.
Right.
You feel like everything just got taken away.
Right. Exactly. But I think since John and I both were friendly with each other, we knew this was just a premier challenge with not much on the line. Just to be able to have 3 full games with pretty exciting teams was pretty dynamic and awesome. So in general, it was a really enjoyable best of 3. That third game demonstrates how RNG can really affect even high level Pokemon. But ultimately, I was pretty pleased with everything, and it was really fun to face John. So that's what I really have to say. John did end up winning the tournament out of 61 players, which is pretty awesome. I mean, you came to invade New York.
Yeah. I was actually approached by I think one of the tournament judges, and they were like, "You're not from New York, right, John?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "Please win this tournament so that no one from New York wins." And I was like, "Okay, I guess."
I'll do it.
I'll do it.
I mean, to reiterate once again, the feel that that this tournament was out. Premier challenges are normally smaller level events. Like most people, you go to like 15, 20 masters.
Around Indiana, that's around like 20 in the masters division, and
right.
then the other divisions have maybe 10. Not enough to get elevated PC status.
Right.
So.
And so this one had 61 in Masters alone. I think, like I mentioned, 12 that I played at Worlds. We actually had someone who had top cut Worlds in 2011, 12, 13, and 14. So I think there were 4 players there who had been in the top 8 at the World Championships before, which is absurd. East Coast players, just really strong field in general. But yeah, in the end, it was John and I in the finals, and John ended up taking it all. But very enjoyable set.
Yep, I agree.
And yeah, so that's going to be it for this best of 3. I think since Jon's here, we're actually going to do a rundown on his team in a future episode. So if you're curious about Jon's movesets, CV spreads, and whatnot, stay tuned and look out for a Showdown team building video since we'll be going over his team there. I don't think there's any social media they can follow you on, right?
I might make one, but as of right now, there is none. So if you want to follow me, sorry.
Do you have any articles on Nugget Bridge?
I do. I have the 2 articles from my 2 most recent nationals teams.
Okay.
So that would be the one where I got semifinalist at 2014, and then the other one where I day 2 top 32.
Right.
Lapras team. So,
what's your name on Nugget Bridge?
that would be Jon Hu FSELF.
I'll link that in the description below. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. Like I mentioned, Jon's made day 2 of both U.S. Nationals, which is a pretty impressive feat. I think very few people.
I was actually not expecting to make it to day 2 after I lost to, I think, Wolfie on stream, because that put me at X2, and I had to win out the rest of the day to actually make it, and I wasn't really feeling that good about it. But last round, round 9, I just decided to pull out all the stops, and it was really unfortunate for my opponent, because he actually was the one who gave me one of my Pokemon I was using. So it was I felt really dirty for doing it to him, and then he was also a little salty too. But I think in the end we were both okay, especially because that let me get into day 2, and I kind of messed up on day 2, but at least I got there.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, day 2 of U.S. Nationals is literally like top 10% slower. I mean, less than that. This year, I think the field was like 38 or so. Last year, around the same number. So, yeah, if you guys are interested in seeing what Jon's used at Nationals before, check it out on his Nugget Bridge account. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this whole best of 3 co-commentating thing. It's, definitely a new thing that I'm trying out, but Jon was in the area, he offered to do it, and I was like, sure, why not? It sounds cool. So that is going to be it for this best of 3. So ultimately, I did finish 2nd, so that put me, I think, at like 228 championship points. So hopefully I'll have it locked up since next month, since I think a PC win and a top 16 regionals finish gets me that. But I think you should expect to see both me and Jon at least at day 1 of Worlds.
Yeah, maybe.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like, go check out all the videos if you have not already, and stay tuned for Jon's team analysis. All right, see you guys.